What if I told you that everything in your external world, down to the things that you experience, the people you attract, like business situations, relationship dynamics, finances, says everything about you and nothing about the external world? Because reality is not random and it's not happening to you. It is a mirror reflecting your internal world right back at you. And once you understand how to read that mirror, you can use it to evolve absolutely anything. Your business, your finances, your relationships, your passions, fulfillment, everything. If you've hit a ceiling in your growth and nothing external seems to fix it, you've most likely hit an invisible block. And it's internal, hidden inside your perception. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the mirror of reality to uncover subconscious judgments that are silently blocking you from receiving. And of course, how to shift it so you can start to magnetize your next level with clarity, power, and ease. So let's begin. Everything you see, feel, experience is reflecting what's going on inside of you. Your perception shapes your reality, and your perception is built upon judgment. But don't feel bad, because you, my friend, are always judging, and so is everybody, even when you think you're neutral. So for example, if I take this phone, I call it a phone, and that is a judgment itself. Why is it a judgment? Well, in the past, somebody told me this was a phone. But is it really a phone, or is it a perception we have put on this object right here? The reality is that nothing you see means absolutely anything until you give it a perception. And that perception is a judgment of what that thing is. Because in the grand scheme of things, you really don't know what you are seeing. You don't know it. And we as human beings have put perceptions and meanings into the things that we are experiencing externally. And as you can see, all of those things and all of the meanings that we give into our present moment or our present reality are things that we have learned in the past as well. So basically, we're always projecting our perceptions using the past into the present moment. And what does that do? That ends up creating your future. But this is why people who walk the left-hand path of life, right, like monastic way of life, and you probably know them as monks, they train their entire lives and isolate themselves to not judge. They isolate themselves completely from modern reality to break free from perception. Although that is a super valid path, it is not my path, and that's okay. As long as I am alive, I will continue to give a meaning to the things that I experience, aka giving it a perception, aka judgment. Because unlike a monk, I do want to engage in the material realm and use the illusion to my advantage, and that is also a super valid path. But it is the labeling of good or bad that makes the judgment either affect your reality or evolve it. Here's the catch though: when your perception is laced with resentment, fear, lack, you distort what you see. You project internal vibrations stemming from your past onto external situations that are in the present moment. And that unconsciously creates limitations. And I'm sorry to break it to you, but the mirror of reality doesn't really care about what you want. It reflects what you believe, and especially what you believe, my friend, about yourself. So when you're judging others for being lazy, pushy, needy, or whatever you're judging them for, you're actually judging aspects of yourself that are repressed and that you don't really want to accept or take a look at. So why does this block abundance? From a quantum perspective, your higher self lives in the infinite field of possibilities, already knowing what paths take you to the most expansive selves. But it can only guide you through alignment. By the way, when I say higher self, I mean the aspect of you that knows everything, okay? The godly aspect of you, basically the mind that you share with God. In Hermeticism, there is a law called the principle of mentalism, basically stating that the entire universe and everything that exists, all is mind. Okay, everything is mind, everything is one. And this is the key to understanding how to create reality, because if everything is one, then this is the reason why you create reality, because you are not apart from your reality. You are your reality. You are one with your reality. And although you have your conscious mind, which is 5% of what your psyche really is, you have your subconscious mind that is the gateway to this higher mind, this higher aspect of you that is connected to the oneness, or is quite literally the oneness, right? Like the godly aspect. This is what I personally believe is actually God. God is everything, down to like this microphone, my phone, everything. Reality itself is God, and that's including you. And when your perception is distorted by subconscious fear, you disconnect from that guidance, because this godly aspect of you that you need to work with in order to really become a conscious reality creator is vibrating at the frequency of love, at the frequency of oneness. And there is only two emotions at the end of the day, and emotions are of course energy and motion, vibration, and that is fear and love. Now, in the grand scheme of things, yes, fear is a variation of love, of course, because everything comes from one source. But since we are in a dual realm, we're gonna keep things simple, right? Fear is the effect of the illusion of separation. The moment you started thinking that you were separated from source, from God, that's when you started having fear. And if you believe at a subconscious level that you are separated from your reality, that you are separated from the source of this entire universe, you're not going to be able to consciously create it, and you're going to end up falling victim to your subconscious projecting reality. In other words, when you perceive through fear, you're tuning into a frequency that does not match your desires. Judgment keeps you stuck in a lower vibration where struggle, lack, burnout, and emotional disconnection are normalized. And most people don't realize because their subconscious is completely hijacking their reality through their perception. They think they're responding to life, but really they are reacting to their past. Here's the gift in all of this though. Every trigger is a tool and every frustration is a feedback. When you learn how to read your projections, you start to unlock the exact blueprint to your next level. Your reality is constantly showing you what you still need to alchemize, what you still need to integrate, so your frequency can rise and you can finally step onto the next level. But you will not see any of this if you don't set your ego aside and you take responsibilities for the perceptions that you have in your external world. Many people do not like to admit that their reality is a complete projection of what's going on inside, because they like to throw the blame outwards. It is so much easier to blame your external world than to deal with the stuff that you are repressing inside. Of course you're gonna blame your external world, but when you begin to take accountability, you're not blaming yourself and punishing yourself like, oh my god, this is what's going on inside of me and I'm projecting it, it's my fault. Instead, you're freeing yourself because you're not being punished. You're never being punished, you're just being shown so you can align better. For example, I once in my business started attracting a lot of low ticket clients. They would tell me, hey Ira, I'm ready to change my life. I really need your help. I'm looking for hands-on help. And when it came to getting the ball rolling, they would back out. They would never commit in themselves. They would also really waste my time or devalue the services that I would provide. Like, imagine putting your soul and heart into the services that you provide and going above and beyond for people only for them to not see your worth, right? That would heavily frustrate me because I would also keep attracting those people over and over and over again. And it did mess with my self-worth for a while, until I realized that resentment I had towards people was not really towards them, it was towards myself. You see, I used to work all the time, and in my head I was like, well, I'm super devoted, I'm super committed because I'm always taking action, but when it came to my passions, to my well-being, to my mental health, to just my personal life, crickets. I was not committed to myself at all. Like, I would toss that aside to work. So of course a part of me was resentful, and that's actually what ended up projecting into my reality, and so that's why I was attracting people like that. There's only two thoughts at the end of the day, and this is the most important principle for mental alchemy. Thoughts that come from illusions that are straight from fear, meaning the illusion of separation, and thoughts that stem from truth, aka love, aka oneness. So when you are dealing with a situation and you are perceiving things from fear, my friend, you're gonna attract more fear. But if you're perceiving things with that godly aspect of you, you're going to attract things of a higher vibration. Taking radical accountability for my perceptions didn't mean that I was blaming myself. I was actually doing the opposite, freeing myself. That's when I set my ego aside and started asking myself, what is this teaching me about me? How am I giving the same energy that I'm triggered at to myself? How can the energy of these people or events that are triggering me be flipped around to me? How am I giving that same energy to myself? And every time I did this, I started to reclaim an immense amount of power I didn't even know I had given away. Sales increased immensely. I started magnetizing the people that I really have been wanting to work with this entire time. My energy completely changed when it came to my work. And that's because when you project your reality, you are always going to judge. Okay, it's either are you going to judge with fear, which is separation, or are you going to judge with love, which is godly? And that is where you actually connect and become one with your reality and allow your higher mind to take care of things. My entire journey with using reality as a mirror actually made me come up with this quote: stop demanding from the mirror what you owe to yourself. Which to this day, by the way, I still tell myself, because I'm human, I still deal with projections. I may have been in this journey for a really long time and have gotten pretty good at it, but I will forever be a student just like yourself. I had a client who was trying to manifest a divine masculine man into her life to be her partner. Mind you, my client was really in her masculine energy. She asked me why she attracted this man who ended up being breeding his feminine energy and even cheated on her. How can she have possibly projected that? How was that her fault? And this is what I told her. When you're doing your masculine energy, you consistently cheat on yourself with work. You cheat on yourself constantly with external responsibilities. His betrayal hurt you not because of the act itself, but because you make that same exact betrayal to yourself every single day. I know this could be pretty hard to hear for people, but at the end of the day, it is your perception that creates your entire reality. And of course, you gotta find a balance, because you cannot have compassion if you don't have compassion for yourself first. So of course, people are going to do things to you. I'm not telling you to get people to walk all over you, etc. I'm not saying that. Like, of course, my love, you still gotta set your boundaries with people and situations. But you can do that while still seeing the mirror. The people you attract are reflections of different aspects of you, and this goes for all the things in your life. So if you really, really love somebody and you admire somebody, it's because you admire an aspect of them that you see in yourself, and it may actually be pretty repressed. And when you really resent somebody, it's because you see an aspect inside of them that you repress and don't like about yourself. So how do you use the mirror of reality to shift your life? When you feel triggered, defensive, impatient, or really any lower vibrational emotion, you need to pause, because that's your mirror. So number one is to catch the projection. So for example, let's say that you are making content on social media. This is something, by the way, that has happened to me so many times. But you post something that really means a lot to you, but you get a hate comment. And you look at this hate comment and you're so triggered. You start fighting with them. They start making you feel super angry. You want to pause there and realize that it is not the person that is actually making you angry. It is that you're projecting an aspect of yourself into this situation. Basically, what you're doing in this fight in the comments is to prove your point, to be recognized. But really, you need to recognize yourself. So you're just projecting that outwards to the person who commented something hateful. So it's super important to do the second step, right? Ask the mirror. What is this reflecting about how I see myself? Where am I still believing a lie about my worth, power, or safety? And number three is to feel it, to rewire it. Illusions come from fear and truth comes from love. The only way to reprogram an aspect of you that is formed with fear is to hold it with unconditional love. Because remember, fear only happens as a result of the thought or illusion of separation. When you allow space for these repressed aspects of you, you rewire your nervous system to be open to receiving rather than closed off and contracted. Since what was once held in fear is now being held in love, making this aspect of you feel safe, and that's actually what reprograms it. And once you do that, number four is to choose a higher perception. From a regulated nervous system and an open heart, you can choose to see the situation as your higher self. Because at the end of the day, you don't only have aspects of yourself that are from fear, you also have aspects of yourself that are very much connected to the oneness, to the higher self. Like literally your higher self is you. The best analogy for this is that let's pretend you are in this forest and everything that you see around you is trees. Like you really want to get out of the forest, but there's a bird right on top of you flying above the forest that can see that you are going to get out if you simply just keep walking. The bird can see the bigger picture while you right now can't, because you're inside this vessel. But you are right now the bird and the one walking in the forest at the same time. And whenever you choose to, you can perceive things from a bird's eye point of view. And that's where once again the two thoughts come in. Are you seeing things from fear and separation, or are you seeing things from love and oneness? And number five is to act from alignment. Perception alone is not enough. When your perception shifts, you're going to start aligning with a higher path. And you're going to start seeing synchronicities through your intuition that are going to lead you down a certain path. So you know in airports, or when you're walking and these lights just light up and they show a path, and the more that you walk down the path, the more that these lights show up and show you more of the path. If you're choosing to see things from a higher perception, then you're going to have opportunities come to you that are going to open up that path that you desire. It is completely up to you to look at the opportunities and to walk down the path. If you've been stuck repeating the same patterns, the answers are not outside of you. It is in your perception. You are not broken, you are just projecting. But that projection holds the map, and if you set your ego aside and take accountability, you can learn to read it and step fully into mastery. This is how you become magnetic, not just to money, but to the life that reflects your highest self. If you're ready to master the mirror and rewire your mind to unlock the next level in your life in business, relationships, career, etc., check out my free masterclass below for my exact framework. I'm Myra Morphy, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.